I work well within a team, but not necessarily with a boss or having restrictions within whether it be a corporate world or even just a creative industry. I think I sometimes felt restricted on where my creativity went. And so branching out on my own was not necessarily, something that I always knew I wanted to do or that was necessarily the right path for us right now. And in that point in time,
You don't always know though, do
you
you?
don't.
Some of it you just wing it.
Yeah,
Hope
you
for the
absolutely
best.
wing it. Yeah. And I knew that if I didn't do it, I think coming back from that year off um, on maternity leave, it just wouldn't happen. I'd go back to that 9 to 5. I'd go back just feeling safe. And I was so ready to just hit the ground running and find a new purpose in life. And I knew it was creative. I had that drive. And here we are with, Laura Rees Styling and interior design and working on beautiful projects.
Welcome to Behind the Design, a podcast where we unfold the details behind the designs we know and love and explore how each project comes to life. I am Camilla Ingle, owner of Unfolded, an interior design and styling studio. In this podcast series, we dive into the details with our industry experts, covering topics such as the creative process, latest design trends, and how we, as an industry, work together to meet the brief and overcome challenges. Let the conversation begin.
So Laura, thank you for coming on Behind the Design.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here. Thank you for asking me to be a part of the conversation.
No, I love it. And, like-minded individuals, we've both had a background in styling, property styling, actually.
Property styling, oh my gosh, those are the days.
Those are the days.
Getting that fake olive plant in the corner of a room and getting your boucle couch.
Can we just take a moment for the fake plant?
Yes.
Just fake.
Yeah. Everything
Plastic,
faux.
rubber. Faux. That word faux. We've both kind of come from the same, areas and built our way up. And so now you've got Laura Rees Stylist, which is your brand. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
It's definitely wasn't a career path that sort of happened straight after school. I guess the interior styling world that I'm in now is I work with a lot of private residential clients on bringing in a bit of character and life into their home. More often than not, it's for a new build and their existing furniture just doesn't fit within the space. So they hire me to really bring that space to life and add that final layer within their home. And then I do predominantly a lot of editorial and photographic styling and collaborating with beautiful interior designers and architects and builders on sourcing art and furniture curation for that perfect photographic moment and, the hopes and dreams of getting published and featured and just being a part of that final journey and layer within a design and project is just incredibly rewarding to be a part of, and I absolutely love it. And I guess how I found myself here was just one day I was in New York and I didn't have a visa, so I couldn't work. So I decided I'd just study interior design for the year, and here I am. I've just branched out on my own and taken the risk to freelance and create beautiful spaces.
Wow. And along the way, you've had 2 beautiful kids.
I have, yes, 2
Yep.
boys.
So mama doing
Yep.
the juggle.
Yeah, doing the juggle, which, is incredibly tough. I think any working parent can vouch for the complete unexpected scenarios that do occur with having that family and work-life balance. I mean, I chose to freelance after a year of being a mum, which I don't think is necessarily wise to do. It's a huge
In
risk.
hindsight?
In hindsight, would not recommend. I just knew it was now or never. And so doing the juggle is chaos, but it's a beautiful chaos at the end of the day. And I'm doing what I love. And
Rewarding.
my family, it's incredibly rewarding. And I have the support of my family behind me. And it's great.
That's so good. And so, if we touch on that comment around support of your family, how did it come about that, you've had number one bub, little boy, and a year in, how was that conversation with your husband?
Yeah, I mean,
Tom, isn't it?
Tom,
Yeah.
yes. He knew exactly my, I think, creative drive that I was really pursuing in life. And I work well within a team, but not necessarily with a boss or having restrictions within whether it be a corporate world or even just a creative industry. I think I sometimes felt restricted on where my creativity went. And so branching out on my own was not necessarily, something that I always knew I wanted to do or that was necessarily the right path for us right now. And in that point in time,
You don't always know though, do
you
you? Some
don't.
of it you just wing it.
Yeah,
Hope
you
for the
absolutely
best.
wing it. Yeah. And I knew that if I didn't do it, I think coming back from that year off on maternity leave, it just wouldn't happen. I'd go back to that 9 to 5. I'd go back just feeling safe. And I was so ready to just hit the ground running and find a new purpose in life. And I knew it was creative. I had that drive. And here we are with, Laura Rees Styling and interior design and working on beautiful projects.
It's amazing. And I think as well, like, it's that classic case of going, there's so much uncertainty and I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes,
You know,
yes, you have
because,
to.
yeah.
You honestly, you go into the unknown, but if you have supporters and you back yourself, and I guess you sort of give yourself that plan, whether it's 5 years or a year, if you're not seeing results, if you're not loving it, if you really do feel that this is just not the right fit, then absolutely you can pivot back to what you feel comfortable with.
And know that you've exhausted the option kind of thing.
But give it a go. And I'm just such a huge believer in risk taking, giving everything a crack. Life is too short to sort of play it safe, and you'll just never know unless you give it a go. And so you really have to, take a chance on yourself and believe in yourself as well.
Yeah.
And if you have beautiful supporters, it'll be okay. It'll work out.
And it does come back to that because some people do need that support. I remember when I started Unfolded, I mean, I've told this story a few times on the podcast. I'm going to keep it really short. But the point was that I pretty much had a breakdown in certain areas of my life. And it's sort of going, all right, so not rock bottom. It wasn't depressing or anything. I was in a space where I was like, I don't really have to address anything with anyone. I can kind of just decide my fate. And so I just got some business cards printed and went on my way, and here we are.
And here we go.
But it just goes to show that, like my family were like, yeah, sure, go for it. Why not? But I think not everybody maybe has that same direction and has that same support network, so may never achieve certain things because they don't feel that it's right by their environment or their audience or whoever it might be. So it does take a lot of guts, especially after having, a bub and everything. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am incredibly fortunate to have that support. Just one thing that popped into my mind was I remember after having second baby and I went back to work after 3 months because I had taken the chance to
This
freelance.
was just last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year, which is crazy because 3 months is way too soon to think about work. You are in newborn fog and the juggle is wild. And I just remember being on a shoot and pumping. You don't have to put this in, but I was like, why am I doing this? But I was like, no, I chose this path and we're here. I am doing something that I love and it's all going to be okay. It's just chaos, but you're filled and I guess surrounded by design, and that's just where you're supposed to be. And I felt okay about it. And if you feel safe and good, then it'll work.
And that sort of kind of comes into the whole vulnerability piece because you're pretty vulnerable to be in an environment that's, let's call it, quote unquote, a work environment, even though what we do is just like a bunch of creatives hanging out and doing beautiful things. But still, there's a lot for you to have to keep across and do, and to be sort of pumping at in the back behind the curtains on a shoot day. There's a lot of vulnerability with that. So you must have felt pretty safe to, get back to work and to be in that space.
Absolutely.
It's pretty
And
cool.
I was with a photographer who I'd worked with for a while, and she's amazing, and the designer was incredible. And so it was just, I guess, along the way you build those foundations and those relationships with photographers and designers and suppliers. And so it all just sort of falls into place naturally. And that's why I think, from early on, I did hit the ground running, and I went to networking events to build those relationships and went into all these showrooms, worked with so many photographers and reached out to so many different people, just because I knew that if I start building those relationships early on, then the work will fall into place. And I think I was lucky enough that I had sort of built that so early on that during that time of parenthood that came into play, it just, yeah, it felt okay to go back that early, although it comes with the chaos, as I said. But yeah,
You created the
I created
foundations.
that foundation and that space, which is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And a recent guest and I had a really similar chat around collaboration, which you and I will dive into a little bit further. But it's really honoring the relationships in our industry, because you don't know when you might need to lean on each other or really just rely on each other a little bit to build safety, as you say, but also like even, using suppliers. And again, we'll dive into the accessories and areas that you source from and suppliers you source from. But trusting that they're going to do right by you and you're going to do right by them, like that takes time. You don't just like earn that overnight. It might take 3 or 4 jobs, and then you go, hey, that last time we used that for the shoot. Do you have that in stock? And they're like, yeah, we'll put it aside for you. Whereas if you're someone new, how do I know if I put this aside that you're going to show up, And you don't blame them.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's so important to create those
It
relationships.
really is. And it goes both ways. Like with the suppliers, they need to know that the project that they're, say, loaning their piece for is the right fit.
Yes. It's a representation of their brand.
Exactly. And so that comes into your style and aesthetic, and if the project is right for those particular pieces. And I think just understanding those boundaries between supplier and designer and stylist, it really, is a
Respecting
full
it.
circle. Exactly. Really respecting it within the industry.
And so on that, you and I had a bit of a chat, ahead of today's recording. And I loved your comment. It's not just about bringing a vase and some branches. And I just had a little, giggle to myself, because I thought 100%. But the, observant mind of someone looking at the photos that we put up and things like that, and even the jobs that you've styled for me, a lot of them do have those beautiful pieces that can look quite easy just thrown together. Tell me, there's so much more that goes on.
Yeah. How
So
much time have we got? Because
unpaid.
honestly,
This will be an extended episode.
I mean, although we do love a branch moment.
The right branch too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, styling. And I know so many stylists or designers who are listening who have done a shoot understand the logistics behind it. Also, personally to stylist on filling your car with accessories and florals and all the ceramics and art, and just trying to get all those perfect elements into your car because it's going to work for a shoot.
And then safely transported
And
to the
safely
shoot.
transported to the shoot, installed. Nothing happens on set because all that risk comes onto us, because it does go back again to our relationship with suppliers. At the end of the day, they are loaning sometimes a $20,000-$30,000 dining table and chair, and you entrust a removalist to bump that in, and then we're shooting, and you just got to pray that nothing happens to it, and then it's transported safely back to the showroom, and then you can forget about it.
Yeah. And sometimes at certain timeframes too, they want it back by the next day or close of business the following.
Yeah, it's usually 24, 48-hour loan when we are able to loan pieces, and it's really just collaborating again on different artists and designers on being able to fortunately have a lot of those pieces, and being able to curate that space perfectly for that captured moment, because exactly like you said, you see that styled space on Instagram and you go, oh great, they've brought in that piece and there's a chair and there's your branch, and that's what it is. But there's so much more happening behind the scenes. You have ceramics everywhere, you've got moving parts, you have chairs, ottomans. You sometimes are doing pickups from 10, 15 different locations. I'm someone who I feel like I take a lot of time and care on finding the perfect little elements like a ceramic vessel or smaller art
You
piece or
do.
ottoman.
Yeah. It's very
Because
deliberate what you do.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I put that on myself, on going to a lot of effort to source those perfectly curated pieces for a space. And then that just makes up the logistics, obviously, of pickups a little bit tougher. But I know that the end result is going to be just that perfectly captured moment that,
It's very thoughtful.
yeah, that really brings a space together. And maybe it's something that the designer didn't necessarily see or envision for their space, but I feel like that's my job, to really just inject so much character and layers and textures. And it just takes time to find all those beautiful pieces and bring that to a shoot day.
Absolutely. And you and I had an experience for the McMaster's Beach project. I was lucky. Laura came up to the coast for me for that one. It was interesting because I remember I was at the flower market and I was like sending you photos. What about these? What about these? What
Yeah, the
about
day
these?
of. Yeah.
And the things that I thought as a designer would work. And you were like, nah, nah, nah. That one. I think I sent you a video. I was like, that one? Are you sure? Yes, that one. You need at least 6 or 7 branches, or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, all right, I trust you. Grabbed them. And when we got there and you put it together, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But see, this is why we need people like yourselves, because that made a kitchen that could have looked quite simple because it was a black kitchen. It could have looked a little bland, let's call it. Even though the finishes were beautiful and it was high end and it was done really well, the joinery was stunning. Just adding that sort of layer and level of sort of personalization changed the whole design.
Absolutely.
So I can completely validate everything that you experience and the level of thoughtfulness and effort that goes into what you do, because there's an eye for it. And I know I can do it, but I'm there to do the design. And then you're that layer that I want to have as well, to collaborate with, to bounce ideas and then go, okay, cool, I'll leave you to it. And that's
Absolutely.
that relationship again of trust.
Definitely.
I'll leave you to it. Let me know how much it will cost. Here's the budget, etc. And off you go.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of designers, they are sometimes working on projects for 3 years or years and years. And when it comes to the completion stage and they're ready to photograph it, sometimes they're either at capacity with other projects and they just don't have time to source and really bring that final project to life. Or they're just like, I don't know what I'm envisioning for the space because I've been designing and looking at this home for so long. And maybe they really just get a bit lost on where they could really elevate that
Like
corner or
highlight
living room.
areas.
Exactly. And so with a stylist to come in who as their job is styling homes every single day and can
With all
view
different items
exactly
and accessories.
and they can really style for the lens, like we were saying before, and creating that captured moment and bringing in those elements to make your project just really sing and just be incredible, and to be that final layer that maybe you were not thinking like that, oh, that chair I don't think would work there, or yeah, those florals, then I don't think they're really going to go with the environment that we're trying to create. But the moment that you do trust us to bring in those pieces, it really, I think, is so rewarding for us. And also, we just, I think, sometimes have that different eye and perspective on a space. And I guess not seeing it as a whole project, it's like, oh, yeah, we'll get that beautifully captured corner of that bench top, like with that bar behind in your project. And we're going to put some beautiful plums or chestnuts there. There's going to be a ceramic plate. There's going to be ceramics there, glassware. And then on the left side, there's going to be that ottoman and chair. And there's just, the eye is just getting drawn to all these different elements. And I think sometimes as designers, you've seen the whole project, but as stylists, we can really narrow it down.
Yes, like
And
vignettes almost.
Exactly. All those beautiful vignettes that we all love.
Yeah.
And just really complete the space for you.
Yeah. And it helps to highlight our design, because really, as you talk about that built-in bar, it had a beautiful tinted mirror. And those types of little features are things that, for someone like myself, hey, I want that in my portfolio. I want a really beautiful image where that area has been highlighted to display the best that it can. And if that was an empty shelf and an empty bench top, people would be like, cool. Is that part of the kitchen? Yeah, like it's a bit random. Why are you just taking photos of an empty space? And these days, there's just so much appreciation for, oh, wow, like that's all pulled together. And then that's that collaboration piece as well.
Absolutely. The collaboration and then creating interest with the space that you've designed and the beautiful details that designers and architects and builders do bring into our home.
Spend 3 years on.
Exactly. And then it's, I guess, we highlight it and we just go, great, that's your hero shot. That's our focus. Like, trust us, we'll bring that to life and we will be that final layer on what you're wanting to see. And yeah,
that's the
it comes
result.
together. Exactly.
That's it.
And it is all about collaboration because it's your project at the end of the day. And I do go back and forth a lot with designers for shoot prep on making sure that they're happy with the pieces and the vision that I am seeing as well, because I don't want to go completely left field on a project that is close to their heart and part of their brand and business. So it definitely is that boundary of working together, but also guiding the designer on trusting us to bring in those different pieces.
And if you look at, your Instagram portfolio website, all your beautiful imagery and everything you've created, you can see that there's a lot of thought that goes into what you do. And, what we were discussing earlier around sourcing from unique brands and local artists, as you say, is your point of difference. Like that's what elevates a brand, right? Not looking cookie cutter. And I almost love that level of you don't know what to expect. And I think I'm a big believer in, well, I've got you now as my stylist, and I say, well, I'll just give her the mood board or, the direction and just leave her with it. And we have that initial chat and then that's the trust again. So I think it's, everything that you've presented, especially on your Instagram and website, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a representation of how you see things as well, which is beautiful for a potential customer or client because they'll go, oh, I can see how she would pull this together.
Yeah.
And that's why you bring in such beautiful, homes, I guess, as well. Yeah, it's very layered work.
It definitely is. And I'm an absolute sucker for, a raw textural element but also softening it with different pieces and fabrics. And more often than not, it works and it's tied together and it, makes you feel, I guess, makes a private residential space feel more homey and put together and layered, but also personal. And whether that's, for your photo shoot or private clients, I think that personal touch, but also knowing where pieces are sourced from. And if they're from just a local artist or a local supplier, I think there's just that different feel that comes with those pieces. And when they're so incredibly unique as well. And the craftsmanship that we have in Australia as well is incredible. So I think we're very lucky with the design that we do have around us.
100%, especially with artwork. Like I feel like that's really taken off in the last probably 4 or 5 years. And I think a lot of it came off the back of COVID as well, because a lot of artists were at home going, oh no, I have to stay home and, do art.
Paint.
And paint.
Or do, they have to fiddle with textures and branching out and
absolutely,
creating beautiful things.
Chatting to Dimitri Vargas not long ago, only a month or so ago, and he was on the podcast and his story was exactly that. He was like, I was totally fine because I just got to create during that time. So I think, a lot of artists and furniture makers spent a lot of time indoors during that time. And I feel like lately I'm really seeing a lot coming out of that, which is silver linings of a pandemic, right? This is definitely some heavier times, but for our industry, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Our industry boomed. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
So I guess on the collaboration piece then, you're working with client, designer, photographer, builder. Sometimes you'll style for builders as well. Would that be right?
Usually, it's common for interior designers on the scale of projects that I work on. The designer will work with the builder and it just is a hand-in-hand project with stylist. Yeah.
And then the photographer, I guess, how often is it that the photographer reaches out to you to say, hey, I'm photographing a space, they don't have a stylist, come on in, because that relationship would surely be important. They've got to capture the work that you're creating.
Yes, is very common. I partner with mainly a select few photographers because they work well with me and we work well together, because a shoot day, for example, is sometimes a full day and you have to shoot an entire house with detail shots, and it is fast and there is a lot of moving pieces.
To capture all the areas.
Exactly. You have a ton of people sometimes on set and you can't get flustered and you have to focus with your photographer and stylist. Just, I guess, that streamline of working well together and trusting that they're going to capture that space, they'll line it up, and that we can go in, style, maneuver those pieces around, and then come back, look at the shot, go back again, correct, move things, shoot again. All right, have we got it? It might take 3, 4, 5 shots, who knows, until we get that perfect image. And so when you do find that good relationship with a photographer, and I guess a photographer with a stylist, and you're producing great work, then you don't really want to break that. I'm really fortunate to have found my groove with a few photographers, and we've just been lucky enough to also just work constantly on different projects.
Like repeat work.
Exactly.
So you're kind of at that level of fulfillment in that sense. Yeah.
Yes. You sort of do gravitate towards different photographers, and then they get their...
Because they kind of have a style too.
Exactly.
In a different way, even though they're
Exactly.
shooting 1,000 properties. You can tell that they've got a style or an approach.
Because the place that they're capturing, they of course want that to appeal to other clients and designers and have
It's their
that
portfolio.
exactly that beautiful moment, and that creativeness between photographer and stylist really needs to go hand in hand. And when you find that good fit, it really works well, and you can tell. And shoot days a lot more fun, I guess, than a lot less stressful.
More seamless.
Exactly, more seamless, and the creativity flows and it just works.
Such a nice feeling. And I think that's across the board. Like for us, we need that with photographers and stylists sort of towards the end, but we need that with builder, architect, client. It's like we're all in a little family for 2 to 3 years, more often than not. Like they're long jobs. And that's with delays, typically it's about 2 years, but a year and a half, 2 years. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, you've got to get along. You just have to, especially when you've got a bunch of creative brains all trying to get the same outcome and make sure the client's okay in the midst of all of that, and make sure it's structurally sound and it looks good. And then we style it and get it photographed and everything works. It's like, it's not light. There's a lot going on at all times. And then there's all those supplier relationships we talk about with curtains and your furniture and your floorboards and yeah.
Exactly. No, there's so many moving parts. And I think at the end of the day, when it is shoot day and it works and you step back and you see that moment and you just, behind all the chaos, there's that calm moment and it's perfect. Yeah.
So if you were to say then, if there's anything that goes wrong, what would be an example of that?
Oh my gosh, so many things go wrong on shoot days. Day of, you have loans fall through or something's not available. Who knows, maybe it's flash flooding. My first shoot, it was full torrential rain. It was the worst. But I think learning to pivot and adapt to whatever scenario comes on the day is so important. And again, you need to have that backup plan, or just sort of go, all right, we're not saving lives here. Yes, we're creating those beautiful aesthetic spaces that everyone's wanting to see. Exactly. That, is so important for the industry and the creativeness that we all get to feel every day. But yeah, learning to really know that it doesn't all go to plan. I think it's very rare for any shoot to work perfectly and for everything to be seamless. So again, you need to, I guess, sort of be able to step back, go, all right, this is okay. We can go get that dining table from that space. Let's quickly go and get that. You have your removalist that you call to, and it then slowly comes together. Or again, you just build trust with a designer on, maybe it's going to take another day. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe
we may need to come back. This is what I'm working on now. This is how we're pivoting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remain confident.
Yes.
Everyone remain calm.
Calm and confident,
Yes.
and the beauty will still happen. Don't worry. We will
Yeah.
get the shot, and we will make it a completed space that you're proud of.
And I mean, look, it's like anything. It's like you can't help the rain. Half the time it sounds like it's out of your control. So what do you do? Like people, and that's the compassionate piece. I think is good for our industry. Like it's just to remind each other, be kind, be compassionate. Everyone's trying their absolute best, especially when we're getting paid by a client or a customer in different industries. It's just remembering we're getting paid to do this. We're being as responsible as we can. If we need to pivot, that's okay. It's sort of an acceptance piece as well. It'll work out. It just wasn't in the time frame that we thought, or whatever it might be. And so what inspires you then, for you to sort of, for the average person who's maybe thinking, I want to be a stylist. I feel like I've got creativity. I love what Laura does. I love what certain people do. And they jump on a website and they go to select certain things for a styling job. Where do you start? Like, what inspires you? Do you sort of...
Well, my inspiration comes from, like I said before, in the beautiful craftsmanship and designers and textures, exactly, and the beautiful pieces that we're constantly surrounded by in Australia and the world. And honestly, going to your favorite social media pages or websites and following your designers, there's just endless amounts of inspiration there. But I think it really, for me, it just comes down to the different elements of design and finding that inspiration from that vintage store, antique store, and that beautiful wrought iron table, or you then got that beautiful ceramic vessel over there, and maybe making them work together, or finding that project, or hoping to have that project come along where you can use those pieces. I think inspiration...
So you almost clock it.
Yeah,
in a way.
absolutely.
So you've got a few things in the bank for when a certain project comes on. I love that.
Yeah. Sourcing days, or even days where I don't necessarily have a shoot on or big client projects, I just drive around and I see showrooms. I go and visit suppliers. I just try and find new artists to connect with, and just really see what's out there, what's being produced, and absolutely put that in the back of my mind. All right, I need that project to happen so I can use that piece, or sometimes buy it myself if I really love it. My house is just filled
I bet.
endless vases and
Building
ceramic
more
vessels.
shelves just to hold.
Absolutely. Yes. I have a downstairs styling shelf area. It's
That's
just
so funny.
filled to the brim.
Yeah. Because you get excited, don't you? You're like, oh, I just want to have it all.
You do. And even I don't switch off at restaurants or hotels. I'm like, oh, wow, look at that sofa there, or those colors working together. Like, what a risk, but that works. I'm going to do that. Or again, put it in the back burner and think about that later. And then
You're manifesting.
Exactly. Exactly. You really are. And yeah, you just look at other designers as well for that inspiration, because they again, international designers are so incredibly talented as well. I have my few favorites that I go to, and yeah, you just sort of pick out little elements of their designs to use.
Yeah, definitely. And just sort of recreate your own version.
Recreate your own vision.
I'm like that with restaurants and cafes and things, but it's weird. I'm like that with lighting. Like I'm always just walking through, and my partner's like, what are you seeing? I'm like, okay, so I love that light highlights that little zone. And then I love that when we're at the table, we've got this highlight light. And then if you look at the bar, look at and he's just like, wow, I saw the lights, but I didn't see the lights.
Absolutely.
The way that you see the lights.
I think it's those little moments.
Such
and I
a
guess
mood.
Exactly. And I think because everyone's trying to create that mood, right? And everyone, especially for photographic styling, we're seeing that little moment that is being showcased out of an entire house or space. And so narrowing it down to those little details, it's only natural for our eye to truly pick up that tiny little lamp that's in the corner of that room. But oh my God, what a vibe that is. Like that light and aesthetic and that warm, neutral feel. And when it just works and it's sort of, you block out everything else. Oh, it's just amazing, isn't it?
It's so good. And even like we've been looking at using uplights in a design on the coast instead of downlights. And it's a really beautiful way to highlight certain materials on walls because we're looking at a certain budget with the client, whether we do a Venetian plaster or just like a textured porter's paint. There is a significant difference in the cost of Venetian plaster versus a textured paint.
If your client's listening, Venetian plaster all the way.
Yeah. Let's hope they're listening.
Yes.
I know. And look, it's one of those things that will probably come in after joinery because the joinery is going to be an investment area, which is pretty standard. But it's just such a beautiful home, and I'm working with some incredible architects on the Central Coast for this one, on Avoca, in Avoca, I should say. And these uplights are going to highlight this wall that's either going to have Venetian or porter's paint. I just love that even if we do the porter's paint, the uplights will still highlight the textured wall. So it's a way to achieve a look and still highlight it without investing, potentially in the Venetian plaster. But that's why I like lighting for me. We may have digressed here, but I'm like lighting for me and small things like what you're saying with a vase or a vessel that has a certain texture. Like that's why we do what we do. It lights us up, excuse the pun. But it's kind of like there's so many things in the design that create the overall look and feel. And as you say, you're that final layer. So your job is important.
Exactly. And we're guiding the designer or the client because we see so many elements every single day, and we use every space that we walk into as a point of inspiration. And I think, we can really just make a space completely different to maybe what another client or designer might see.
And so if you could look back on when you were, tiny, did you always think, because you had, is it e-commerce,
Corporate finance.
finance?
Yes.
So
And marketing. Yep.
corporate finance, marketing background, and now here, what would you say, even to someone who, is younger and not sure what they want to do, and they might even start with something like you have, but really what you want to do is this?
My biggest tip is absolutely networking. Just reaching out, doing the shameless DM or, email. Yeah, I think it was,
I
wasn't
remember
it?
this the other day. I was like, I think you just DM'd me, and then I had a job.
Did I? Yeah,
Or
yeah.
close.
Yes,
Years, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I was just starting out, and you just never know who's going to say yes to a coffee catch up or just a chat, a phone call. The amount of other stylists or designers that I reached out to, and they, were so incredibly lovely on sort of taking me under their wing. I did a lot of assisting to just learn the ropes of the industry, because I think it can be quite connected. You really sort of can struggle sometimes to get your foot in the door, and
As in it's who you know.
who you know.
Yeah.
Who you know.
Yeah.
And I think when you do sort of be that left-hand man to someone, you'll just learn on the job. And if that's where you still feel like that you want to be, and you're like, oh no, this is for me, I'm loving this.
Yeah,
And
I'm in
you're
my
seeing
rhythm.
everything. Exactly. And you learn quickly, and you just got to jump straight in, because I think if you just have self-doubt and you don't believe in yourself and you overthink, it's just not going to become a reality. So absolutely start networking, take the risk. Still do your job that you're doing. Like I'm not trying to influence people to quit their job and then do something completely different
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Not so dramatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just take a chance on yourself and put yourself out there, because you never know where that, I don't know if this is cliche, but where that next yes is going to lead to, right? Or that next job that you're assisting on leads to, that next connection, and it will all start to flow.
Especially if it's sort of, if you're aligned,
Exactly.
it will just work out.
Yeah.
And or you might get a no,
Mm-hmm.
but
that's okay.
that no's okay, because there'll be a yes the following week, and it will be something way more aligned, and you'll realize if that no was a yes, you wouldn't have had time for the other one.
And I think, again,
Speaking from experience.
exactly. And I think that can then easily relate to sort of where we are today with social media and what we see, and comparing ourselves to other people, right? And other people in the industry, or in an industry we want to be in. Exactly. So easy to do. And you just need to, I think, focus on your dream and your life and where you really value yourself and your career, and trust your gut, trust your vision. Like, the best work that I've produced has been when I've just gone into a space. I've gone, okay, yes, those pieces, I can see it. I've styled it already in my head. I'm going to go away and I'm just going to execute. And it's just worked beautifully. And I find sometimes if I'm comparing myself and doom scrolling, and watching what other stylists and designers are doing, I completely lose sight of the vision that I'm trying to create. And so just trusting in yourself. And again, it goes back to the very start of having that support and network around you. It all comes into play.
Absolutely. And it's funny because, when people sort of joke around when you start a family, it takes a village. I'm also like, when you're an interior designer, it takes a village.
It does. It does.
To really
There's so many working parts.
be successful.
Exactly.
And have things come to fruition in the way that you dreamed of and your vision come to life. It takes a village.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes. A beautiful full circle, though, that you get to work on. And even though freelance can be daunting for a lot of people and maybe seem lonely, every day, probably like you're chatting to suppliers, builders, and just constantly talking to other people within the industry. But yeah, you're working for yourself. Keep yourself accountable, keep going.
Absolutely. And like you said, just stay connected. Stay connected, keep chatting with those people, keep that rapport happening. Those relationships are super important. Yeah. And so in all of this, what would you say to a potential customer or client? Top tips for styling.
I mean, here we go.
Yeah, where do I start?
As I think people that sort of know me and my aesthetic, honestly, a ceramic vessel, dish, vase, it's just so beautiful. Something that just captures the eye and is interesting. You just can't go wrong. It always works. And just layering, always clustering the vignettes that we spoke about and just piecing little pieces together and creating that little personal moment.
Especially on something like a bedside table.
Exactly.
Like as you're speaking, I'm visualizing.
Yeah, I know. Create a
then
little
pop it
story
there.
to visualize in your head, and then you piece it together slowly. But yeah, it's about the layers. Bring in something different that you're like, oh, I don't know if that might work, but give it a crack.
Experiment.
Exactly. Experiment. And it takes time. Like my house at the moment, it doesn't have any art on the walls. I just have ceramics everywhere. But those pieces take time because I find them deeply personal to bring into a home and hang up on your wall and be in your space. Exactly.
And a lot of my clients are now wanting originals. So it's an investment. Don't rush the process.
Don't rush the process.
And you've got time for art. You
Absolutely.
don't have time so much for a kitchen.
Mm.
We got to get that in so you can live there.
Exactly.
But the artwork can
Yes.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love as well, just to sort of wrap up this whole, your process, my process, how we work together, it all comes hand in hand because say, for example, I haven't got to that phase with that client of sourcing. You're now going to help me with that type of thing. And that means that I can go out and bring in more interior design, projects, bigger jobs, while I've got you helping me furnish art selections, accessories, linen, so much to that procurement phase. And now we are going to collaborate on that, which I love. And I'm super excited for our first job together. But not only is it that you will be doing and that you offer, but say, for example, we don't get to that phase with a client, what I absolutely love is that I might say to you, hey, this job isn't fully complete. Can you come in with the art, the accessories, that occasional chair, maybe a rug? Half the time the client's like, oh, I love that art. Where did that come from? And then bang, we now have a solution for that wall that I didn't have a chance to get to with that client because it was deadline driven and we had to get photography through or whatever. So it's those unexpected good moments that you go, great. You know what? Laura's done really well with that one. I love that.
In situ and in the space
Yes.
is, people are so visual, obviously. And so showing them an example on a website or photoshopped into a space to give them sort of an idea of what it will look like is, I find, completely different to seeing it in real life. And again, seeing the textures, the colors, and just how it makes the space feel.
Yeah. There's so much emotion in it.
There really is.
In a good way.
Yes.
It's not too emotional.
Yeah.
If we now look ahead for Laura Rees, what's next? Where are we headed?
Yeah. Well, I think, and sort of going back on the tips for stylists and working with layers, workshops and education, I think is definitely a path I'm really keen and interested on taking. So hopefully towards the end of this year, it'll be workshops for styling, but not sort of typical ways to improve your home. It's more so workshops on styling for the camera and really narrowing down how to get that perfectly captured space. So whether it's a designer like yourself and maybe you don't have budget for a full day photo shoot, but you just know that you need to capture certain elements, but need those quick tips and ideas on how to just style those spaces. That's what I want to teach people
In a
and
workshop.
help people in a workshop. Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that. And I think that would be really well received because, as you say, most of the time it's either I haven't got around to hiring you or whatnot, or budget.
Exactly. And it can be a lot. And honestly, designers don't all have the time for that all the time for every project. So if you have those 3 or 4 hero shots for your space and I've helped you create it and just bring ideas on how to make that feel like a beautifully styled space, then that's what I'm wanting to, really get into.
That's awesome. I love that. And you were mentioning as well, off the back of how we discussed, the sourcing and procurement as well. You're wanting to really venture down that avenue because that's something that you find quite natural, right?
Absolutely. Yes. I love sourcing and finding those perfect pieces for a home.
And that's to live in. So just so we're clear
to
for
live
the
in.
listener,
Absolutely. Yes.
and not just for photo
No,
shoots.
my residential clients, yes, I absolutely love it. And I've been incredibly fortunate to work with some beautiful clients in the past. And I think bringing their project that they've or their house to life and bringing that tiny detail of character and again layers to a space I really absolutely love. And again, collaborating with them on their home. I think there's so many artists and designers out there that everyday people don't necessarily know about or don't know where to look to.
100%.
So yeah,
People like yourselves are happy to look. Yeah. And that's the type of thing that a lot of our clients do have the budget for because they're time poor, and they have the capital to say, hey, Laura, or for example, I was thinking as you were speaking, I get this all the time. I love this supplier. Camilla, I love this supplier. Can we source from them? Full stop. But what do you like? No, I just love everything they do.
yes, yeah,
Got to pull that together.
I know.
And they might do linen and
Mhm.
absolute, accessories
Mhm.
and not faux plants, real plants, mirrors, art, and it's a beautiful brief because you get a vision of the supplier that they love. So that could even be something that you could help me with. Hey, my client loves this supplier. Let's pull this last space together
Yes, yeah.
for them to live and love and enjoy. And
Exactly. And I love sharing my knowledge of where pieces are from. I'm so not someone to, I'm incredibly transparent. If you send me a message and you need to know where this piece is from, then I happily share it. Oh, I'm always recommending suppliers to people and clients, and they're so invested and excited about it too.
yeah,
Which
especially when it's
makes-
unique.
Yes, which makes me so excited as well because artists and like ceramicists, they're so invested and just passionate about their work. So if I get to share that, it's so incredibly rewarding. And then it just is a continuous kind of funnel down to the next client, the next install, the next purchase. And it's,
Yeah. And everyone talks.
everyone talks.
So I guess, as we've chatted through your role, your business as a business owner, mum life, and all the things, you seem to me quite confident, at ease, cool, calm, collected. Does anything make you feel scared, or is there anything out there that you're, oh, it's really daunting? Or are you quite at peace with where you're at?
I think I'm definitely at peace and feel at home in the career that I'm in, but absolutely if a new brief comes through and I have self-doubt on if I'm going to deliver or meet the expectation that the client has.
Big one, expectations.
Yes, exactly. They're trusting you to produce their vision and also guide them to produce that incredible space and really elevate it and bring in that character. And I think in terms of shoot days, it's daunting on you have that one day to capture the designer's project.
Pressure's on.
Exactly. Pressure's on. I guess there's only so much that we sort of collaborate on throughout bringing that project to life in leading up to the shoot day. And so bringing those final elements to make the space feel complete is, of course, daunting. And again, it goes back to just trusting your gut, back yourself. And I think you can't hesitate or lose sight of your vision. And that also goes to the private clients of they've hired you because they love your work. So just produce the
remember
beautiful
that.
work.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know you can do it. And I think it's, again, down to collaboration, and it is sometimes a back and forth scenario. And if it means we're doing 5 different changes to get the perfect dining chair or sofa, that's what we'll do,
Yeah.
because that's our job, to make your space and your home feel the way you want it to feel. And again, it's that personal element. And so, yeah, it takes a lot of, I think, work to get there and produce that completed product, but you just got to trust yourself. And although it's daunting and behind the scenes, my God, it is chaos, but it comes together, and you just have to trust the vision, trust the eye, and the work that you produce.
Absolutely. And it's interesting when you say sub out different items, because I know in the past when you're tired, it's getting to that 3:30 mark. I'm someone who's up at 5:30, so it's like an 8-hour day already.
Yes.
And I'm tired at that point. And I know that you and I have even been on a shoot till 4:35, 6 even, and you don't really feel like subbing out another chair, but you've got to remind yourself that it's worth it, because that final shot that you get back in 2-3 weeks' time, you go, oh, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I was really patient and I went for round 6 with that chair. Then we got there and I'm glad I did it, so it's, yeah.
And I guess, know when to step away, have some breathing space.
Yeah.
And come back to
Take
it.
a moment.
Exactly. So many times I have been trying to put a mood board together literally at 1 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just working like a nutter, like behind my laptop, trying to produce something. And I know that creativity isn't there. I know I could be producing something better. And so you just need to learn, put it away, come back to it tomorrow. It's a new day, sleep on it, come back in with a fresh mind and with a clearer vision. And because you know that you can produce that beautiful work.
Before we wrap up, we love to end with a final question, bit of a funny one. If you had to be sponsored by one random product for life, what would it be and why?
God, I don't know if this is completely left field because it's not design related, but Maltesers.
Okay. And why?
God, what if I just said Maltesers?
That's so unexpected.
I mean, that is so random, I know, and everyone, whoever's listening is probably going, what on earth? They're just delicious.
They what?
I'm sorry.
So we can't look at each other.
I can't go into detail on why. Like, they're just lovely. Like, they're
just lovely.
They're just yummy. Like,
They are.
Yeah.
So you'd have endless Maltesers then if
Absolutely.
you were sponsored by
family pack, like any box that you see within the Woolworths aisles, I will have one of those weekly. 100%. Yeah,
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I love how unexpected that was. That's so good. So to wrap things up now, where can people find you?
I mean, I'm always up for a personal phone call. I think I'm way easier being contacted. Just go onto my website, find my phone number. It's there. Give me a call. Have a chat about your next beautiful project that we can collaborate on, or Instagram, of course, at Laura Rees Stylist. Shoot me a message because I'm always looking to connect with new designers, suppliers, or beautiful new clients who are ready to have some, sourcing done.
Yeah, beautiful styling.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
Yeah,
I've loved
it's
it.
been a beautiful episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Behind the Design. We've created this podcast to bring people together, inspire new ideas, and foster a deeper understanding of what goes on behind the design. If you don't want to miss the next episode, hit the follow button on whatever platform you listen to your podcast. Until next time, keep creating and stay inspired.